Hi, I'm Ben of Mix Up YouTube, here to do a series recap of Marvel Spider-Man. It's their new show about Spider-Man. And chances are you has to, if you watch my Spider-Man Homecoming review, you can know I'm a big fan of Spider-Man. I've been a big fan of Spider-Man since I was a kid. Now a few months ago, they already finished up Ultimate Spider-Man, which I kind of like, even though Spider-Man's a bit of a brat, but in here, they showed 6 miniseries of Spider-Man. He, Here, it's mostly the origin story. I know they rehashed the origin story, but here, it's kind of a mix between the Amazing Spider-Man and the the original Spider-Man movies was directed by Sam Raimi. In this one, we open up at Oscorp on a field trip, and it shows Harry Osborn, but he kind of looks like Wilbur Robinson from Meet the Robinsons. And it's weird because one of the scientists who doesn't look fond of Peter has a son that looks more like Harry Osborn than this kid. So, anyways, Peter and this other girl, I forget her names, I think it was Liz, was gonna play with this mechanical thing, but then they were gonna use their hands, but then it showed before that a genetically enhanced spider escaped, and they were trying to find it, and the spider bit Peter, so it's close to the original origin story. Then he felt nauseous, so then he left, and then he gained all these powers. He went through them, and then he discovered he's like, what can he do? He was filming himself, like he was gonna put it on YouTube, but he didn't, of course. So then he used his powers to do like in the comics, a wrestling ring. He was like, what can I use this, a show or anything? So he went to wrestling. And it did, and the robber was like, hey, and a robber came, and if you know the story, yes. The robber came and tried to stop him, but then he, um, yeah, but Peter was like, hey, gotta save my move for a wrestling ring. So then he wrestles with this guy named Bonesaw McSomething, and it was kind of like the original movie. Sorry, that's my cat scratching at the door. Kitty, I'm doing a video. So then he wrestled with the guy. He won some money, and then in the next episode, he because this was actually before he wore the iconic suit. He actually found a hoodie and a mask he can use to make a practical costume, and he's like, and but then later he discovered his Uncle Ben was dead. So then, if you know the story, he goes to the warehouse. He attacks the he whips the guy. He found him and P he's like, it's you. It's the guy, the one I couldn't stop but I didn't. And then he rans out the criminal and he's like, freeze down on the ground. He's like, okay, get away from me and don't leave me with this guy. So then he was sad, but he's like, I'll use this power to help people, kind of like in the comics. So that's my series recap. It was actually good. The animation kind of reminded me of Avatar: Legend of Korra. It might be the same pure people, but I never heard anyone say that. But yeah, so that's my series recap of Marvel Spider-Man. Hope to see new episodes of that show. It looks really cool and can't wait.